Hey guys, this is Anya from Craft Bake Make, and I'm going to show you guys how to make a Pikachu cake topper because the movie is going to come out soon, and I know a lot of you guys are probably going to want to have it on your cakes for parties or whatever you want. So first things first, you got to wash your hands, and I'm going to show you guys how to make it so it's not like just like a blob, you know? So you got to start with the structure of it. I found these pictures of Pikachu, and I'm just kind of modeling it after. So I just kind of made the ears go like that, and then I'm just going to build around it. How you make this, I'm using 20 gauge wire is what I used for this guy, and then I use this thinner gauge for the ear, but then right now I'm just going to use some leftover wire that I got. So you want to start by making the base so it can stand up. So I'm just going to use my wire cutters, and you want to have wire bender thingies, you know, these things, pliers. So you're going to want to have ones that are the right size for your hands, you know, because like I used to use these when I was littler because they were just right for my hands. And you can ask your mom, dad, or parent if they have one that would fit your size hands. If not, you're going to want to get new ones. And also, you want ones that will be okay to touch food with. You don't want them to have been in a toolbox in your garage for who knows how long. So start by twisting the wire into a little circle. Just then your Pikachu will be able to stand up. Alright, so here's my base. It's just like a little swirly, you know? And then I'm just going to stand that up. And I'm going to make this version slightly smaller than this one, just because it's a different size wire. And so you're going to take the ear and just kind of bend it backwards to like there-ish. Because if his ear is going to be behind him, like poking like that or whatever. And next, you're going to want to take some more wire and just twist it around the Pikachu, like around the base of the ear. So I'm just gonna take this little this part, and I'm gonna go to the base of the other ear and just start wrapping it with the pliers. Maybe kind of hard to get it really tight, but it's okay because you're gonna wrap it in flour tape afterwards, and then the modeling chocolate is gonna hold it up anyway. So it doesn't need to be super tight, just tight enough that it's not falling down the base thing. Then now that it's wrapped, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it off so it's the size of the other ear, which is going down. And I'm just going to use my wire cutters to do this. And there you have the beginnings of your base structure for the Pikachu. Now, I'm going to wrap it in flour tape because you don't want the metal to be touching the food. So I'm just going to take this flour tape and start wrapping it around. And one thing you need to be sure of is that it won't stick unless you stretch it, like you pull it as you wrap it. So you just gotta be careful of that. And don't forget to be pulling, otherwise it won't stick. Okay, so I just wrapped this little guy in floral tape. So now it's gonna be completely safe for the food. Now, the actual structure is going to be made out of modeling chocolate, which feels a lot like Play-Doh, and it can be used like a Play-Doh for edible things like cakes or cupcakes or whatever it is you want. The difference between modeling chocolate and fondant is that fondant is kind of like droopy and it can like kind of sag a bit, you know. It doesn't close the seams as well when you're modeling with it. But modeling chocolate is actually made of chocolate, so it does melt a little bit. So you gotta be careful, you can't handle it too much, but its seams close really, really well. Right now, I'm just gonna work it a little bit so it's like nice and soft, but not too much because I don't want my hands to get greasy and I don't want it to melt. Mine's pretty worked already. So right now what I'm gonna do, once it's a little easier to move, I'm going to use my AmeriColor electric yellow gel, and it's really great because it doesn't make it too sticky or anything. It's a really good brand for it. And I'm just gonna put in a couple of drops. And now I'm just gonna fold it in half and then just keep folding and kneading it. And it's almost kneaded now. You want no white streaks though. So you gotta keep working it until it's completely yellow. And if it's not yellow enough, if you don't like how it looks, you can always add more. See, now this is a nice color yellow and we're all set to start. I'm gonna use the model that I made, which I think is about 9 centimeters tall. I made a sketch to make it about how big I would want on a cake. So I'm just gonna start with the body. So just grab like fairly large chunk of it, maybe, let's see, this big, maybe a little larger, just add a bit more. You can always take out some, you can add some more. It's not a huge deal. So I'm just going to take the rest of this and just put it in a bag for now because I don't want it to be like, drying out or melting or anything. I'm just going to set it off to the side. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of roll it into a ball a bit and then just kind of press it onto the model. Just like this is how you're going to start, and it's going to look all blob-like, but it will not stay like that. So just use your hands, kind of smooth it out a bit. Don't work it too much or else it will start melting. But just in my picture, I can see that there's kind of like the inside kind of goes in a bit and the legs are going all the way up. So I'm just kind of smoothing it and shaping it as I can see in my picture. Some seams are a little bit harder to close, so I'm using my Wilton, wait, is this Wilton? Yeah, this is Wilton. I'm using my Wilton fondant tool, or modeling chocolate fondant. And I'm just going to close the seams a bit. Like on the back, it's all kind of gross and like you can see like a lot of bumps. So I'm just going to use it and just smooth it over. Alright, here is your blob that will soon look like a Pikachu body. So I'm going to use the wide end of the tool and I'm going to kind of carve in the legs a bit so I can see what I'm going to be working with. Alright, so now this is the front and this is the back, and I'm going to start carving in the legs so I can work with them later. Actually, I'm going to work on them right now. Just do all the legs right now. So I'm just gently kind of pressing in. And my shape kind of shows them to be a little bit of a teardrop shape going on the sides. So I'm just going to carefully just like bring it in. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. You just want the markings showing where you're going right now. Right, and there's that so far. So just, you're gonna wanna keep working it in a bit. And then you can use your fingers and press it. And just kinda make it look like the legs are actually popping out. And it's not just all part of like one big blob, you know? You don't want there to be a huge difference in the crease between the legs and then the body. You want to make sure the body all looks like one smooth, big surface. can always be shaping the legs if they don't look perfect, and you want them to be pretty symmetrical. And these are what the legs are going to look like so far. And you might want to shape the body a little more so it actually looks like Pikachu. But right now, you're just getting the general shape of the legs. And yeah. And then you're just going to work a little bit more on it later. I'm just going to keep working this with my fingers, just pushing it in more, and pushing the legs out more so they're more pronounced. And this is what it looks like so far. So I just took a quick break and I washed my hands because this was getting a little bit hard to work with and it was starting to melt a bit. And you're probably gonna have to take a few breaks also every now and then just to let it breathe a bit and dry. But when you wash your hands, just be aware that you have to be extremely careful once you're done to dry them completely, because otherwise the chocolate will seize up and it will not be pretty. So you just have to make sure that your hands are completely dry. Right now that the chocolate's better, I'm just going to quickly just tuck under the edges a bit so then it looks a little smoother. There you go, like that. Okay, right now, I'm just gonna start working on the head. So, I'm gonna get this modeling chocolate and just get it out. And this is too much for my head because I need ears still and a tail. So what I'm gonna do is I am just gonna, once again, tear off a little piece of it and just put it alongside just to get an idea of what size it'll be. And this is just about right. So I'm gonna take the rest of this and just put it back in the bag to keep working with it later. So again, just make sure it's in a little ball, and then all you're gonna do is you're just gonna do the same thing as you did with the body and just press it right over. And there is the blob head so far. So I'm just gonna start shaping it, and once again making sure the seams look nice. And shaping the head. So in my picture, the Pikachu has really big cheeks, and it all kind of goes into a point at the circle, and the mouth is kind of under, like kind of pushed in a bit more. So I'm just gonna shape that according to that, or shape this according to that. And just gonna kind of press down a bit, you know, there, to get the little point of the nose. And that is very off center. Hold on, let me do that again. And once again, if there are seams that you need to close, like right here for example, then just use the wide part of this and gently just smooth it over. And for the bigger ones, you can use your hands and your fingers and just smooth it in a bit. And you see it's looking pretty good right now. So you might want to keep working on creases. You're going to want to work on the neck a bit, so it's not just like a little, you know, potato sitting on top like a sack or something. So just kind of smooth it in. And you want to make sure that there is a distinction, like there is a neck, but you don't want it to be just like a crease. Alright, and this is your Pikachu so far. So I made the back. The back looks kind of hunched because it's getting pretty big, and then there's just a really big dent in there. So what you can always do, you can always just tear off a piece and just reposition it. If you, in the beginning for example, if you got too much modeling chocolate to begin with, you can always take some off and put it back with the rest. You don't want to use unnecessary modeling chocolate and make it not look quite as good as it could have if you just used less. And again, I need to add some more to my head so it's a little more poppy-outy in the back. So I'm just gonna keep repositioning and adding on until it looks just how I want it to. And this is looking pretty good so far, because there's your Pikachu so far. Alright, now I'm going to add the arms and just keep shaping the body a little bit. Because right now, it's still kind of one triangle going into the head. So, let's see, it has kind of like a curve. And then it goes into the arm. So I'm just getting this ready for that. So here's a curve. And let's see, I'm looking at my picture constantly to make sure it looks the same. And I'm just gonna use 2 little pieces of the modeling chocolate. I'm just gonna use it as a knife right now, because why not? And just kind of work it until it looks like a rectangle, just like Pikachu's arms. And you're gonna want kind of a tapered end. So that's super easy to do just when you're kind of squeezing it like this. Just make one end a little skinnier like that. You see? So on all ends, just keep working it a bit. And then here is one of his arms so far. Let's see, so this one's gonna go on like this, and obviously you're gonna clear the seams and stuff. Then I'm just gonna shape the other one. You're gonna want to look pretty similar to the other arm. This arm's a little fatter actually, so just shaping it accordingly. And now I'm just gonna stick it up here like this. Alright, so now I just washed my hands again, gave it a chance to sit. I can't speak today. And I'm just gonna attach the arm now and reshape it a little bit because it's not looking super great yet. And I want it to look just how it does in the picture. All right, and I'm just going to set it up right here. Like this, like so. And actually this arm looks a little big. I'm gonna redo this arm. I want them to look pretty symmetrical. And now I'm just going to add a little bit on this other arm also, so they look just how I want them to. Perfect, and this is our Pikachu so far. And now I'm going to blend in the seams for the arms, and then I will continue to shape the body a little bit. Just keep blending it until there are no more seams, and it looks just the way you want. And now, this looks pretty good so far for this arm, and I'm just gonna move on to the other arm. And here this is so far. Oh, I got a little bit of modeling chalk, so I'm just gonna put that in the bag. Alright, so I want to make the curve right here a little bit more pronounced. So all I'm going to do is just use my hand and just press it in a bit. Like so. And now not quite yet, hold on. Still needs a little bit of work done. And again, as I said earlier, if you need to take off pieces of modeling chocolate because you added too much on in the beginning, you do that. And then the other side, the right side doesn't need quite as much shaping, but I'm still going to do it a little bit so it looks nice and smooth. And smoothing out the back a little bit in the shaping. And hold on. There you go, that looks better. And just make sure that you keep the little divot in between his legs so they're two separate legs and not just a blob at the bottom, like a little log. Alright, so I'm just going to start on the ears right now. I don't have a ton left, but that is okay because I have enough. So, just kind of going to roll it into a caterpillar and then just going to break it in two because that looks about the right size. And just going to set the rest off to the side for the tail. And now I'm just going to take it and stick roll it into like one of those little caterpillar worm thingies, you know? And just kind of like that. And just stick it over. There. Just like that. And then just do the same thing on the other side. So, take it, caterpillar worm it, whatever you want to call it, and just fold it over. And here are the beginnings of the ears. They're almost done. Just take this you're gonna wanna, again, with the big side, always with the big side, because it's easiest for blending. Just blend it in super gently to the head. Then just shape it so it actually looks like the ears. Just smooth out the sides a bit. There, just smooth it. And this ear looks all curvy right now, which we do not want. So just keep going. You'll get the look you want soon enough. Just be gentle. And just blend in any seams. And here is your Pikachu so far. Okay, so I just realized I kind of forgot to do the tail ahead of time. So all I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna take the wire and just kind of shape it like the lightning bolt. It doesn't need to be perfect or anything. Just make sure the shape, the general shape is there. And I'm just gonna cut it off right about here. All right, so now all you're gonna do, you're gonna take the remaining modeling chocolate that you got and just shape it over. Oh, I forgot. Sorry, first. Okay. Just use floral tape and don't forget to be stretching and just wrap it around. Alright, so now that we've got the tail wrapped in floral tape, all you're gonna do, you're just gonna kind of push it on, like so, and just be pulling, just keep pulling and stretching a bit. So then it's nice and skinny, but you don't want you don't want to be able to see through anything, but you want it to be able to cover the whole thing pretty nicely. Just keep flattening and pulling. And then smooth out the creases and stuff. And if it doesn't look perfect, like just how you want it to, then just keep working until it does. All right, now this is pretty covered. I'm just gonna take this tool and then press it so it's perfectly straight. And now all these edges are pretty straight. I'm not quite done yet, but just keep straightening until it looks right. And just go to the other side and do the same thing. Make sure all the seams are blended. And just keep straightening. Great, now that I just let the tail rest for a little bit and I took off the very end, so then I'll be able to stick it into the Pokemon. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take the tail, and kind of position it how I want it to look, kind of like that, and just stick it into the modeling chocolate. And then just use your tool and just blend it in a bit. Now I'm just going to start painting. And this next step you can do with vodka, you can do with Everclear, you can do with lemon juice, whatever your parents are okay with you using. So I'm just going to get my vodka out, because I'm just using vodka. And just pour in the tiniest little drop. Right, and that's like all you need. It's very little. So I'm just going to place my vodka to the side. And I am going to use this AmeriColor Super Red Gel for the painting. And just squeeze in a drop. Alright, so got my drop in the vodka. And I'm just going to take a super, super, super fine tip brush and just mix it. Right, and there you go. So I'm just going to place this off to the side. And I already did the same thing with the black. So now what you're going to do is take a larger soft brush like this one and dust the everywhere that you're going to be painting with corn syrup, because it helps the gel absorb more. So just giving it the very light dusting. Just kind of sprinkle it on, or not sprinkle it on, but like just brush it on. And I'm going to put it on the tips of the ears as well as the face, because that is painted black. And on the end of the tail, I believe. Yeah, or the base of the tail. Now I'm just going to use another super fine tip brush, or actually this one's finer. One doesn't want to come up. There we go. I'm going to use this another super fine tip brush. And I got my black paint. And I'm just on the nose going to make a super, 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 super like tiny little microscopic dot. Or it's more like a little triangle. So just make a tiny little triangle. And there's the nose. So now, on the underside of the mouth, like right here, you're gonna just kind of give him a little mustache, and that's gonna be the top of the mouth. It won't look like a mustache though. It'll just be like the lip. like that. And then now I'm just gonna do the eyes. So it's pretty similar, just do little circles on the sides coming into the triangle. If you're going to want to add a little white spot onto it, just wait, you'll have to wait until the paint is dry, and then you'll be able to. And do the same thing to the other side. Now I'm going to paint the mouth. And I'm going to the red. And very carefully just painting the shape that I want. I'm gonna make my mouth a tad bit longer because it's kind of short right now. And now I'm just going to fill it in. I'm smoothing out the lines a bit so it doesn't look all jaggedy. And here's Pikachu so far. Now I'm just going to make a little cheek, like the little blush on the cheeks. Can't speak. Just make the little circles. All right, and there's one cheek. And I'm about to do the other. And there's the face of the Pikachu. And again, you can add little white spots once this has dried. Now, I'm just gonna add the stripes on the back, and just a little bit on the tail, and then, oh, and the ears. I forgot about the ears. So, just paint the general, like just paint the outline of where you're going to want to paint. Just going to paint under. And I'm just going to smooth it out. And there's one ear. And I'm about to do the other. And there are the 2 ears. Now, all I'm gonna do is turn it around and do the 2 stripes on the back and the tail. Now, I'm going to do the little white dots on the eyes, and for this one, it can't be AmeriColor gel because that's not opaque enough. So I used this CK powder because it's really good for like opaque on black or on dark colors. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna use the same amount of vodka and just put in one of the little spoonfuls here. But when you're doing this, and this goes for the gels too, always start with the vodka. Otherwise, you're gonna have to use you might over pour on vodka, and you're gonna have to use a lot more powder, and you don't want to have to waste powder. So I'm just going to take it. And there's 1 dot. Actually, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. There's 1 dot. And there's the other. All right, now you're just gonna do the fingers, and remember the same tool that you used for the tail to straighten the sides like that? You're gonna use the other side. It looks kind of like a little seashell. And on the hand, you're just gonna do like a little, for the little fingers. There, and do the same thing on the other side.